This is Toledo Symphony Lab, a behind-the-scenes look at the world of classical music from WGTE Public Media and your Toledo Symphony. I'm Brad Cresswell. Joining me today in the studio is the Toledo Symphony's principal second violin and artistic administrator, Merwin Sue. And we also have the TSO's marketing director, Vanessa Gardner, here with us. On the phone, we have our music director, Alain Trudel. And also on the phone, we have a very special guest. Let me bring out a little drum fanfare here.
Wow.
I put a lot of work into this.
How many time signatures is this little intro?
How do you conduct that? Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, should we introduce him? No. Yeah.
Yeah, but before you do so, isn't this piece supposed to be in 4/4 now?
Yeah. Let me try it again. No. That is Conductor Jacob Joyce. Welcome, Jacob. Glad to have you here.
Hey, thank you so much for that very nice introduction.
It's all downhill from here, let me tell you. Jacob Joyce is conducting this concert that's happening Memorial Day weekend. It's called Patriotic Pops, Thursday and Friday at 8 p.m. The live stream is Friday at 8 p.m. You can find that at stream.artstoledo.com. There are tickets in person available. That is at 419-246-8000 or toledosymphony.com. So the theme of our program today is inspired by this concert, the Patriotic Concert. We'll talk about the music that's on there. We'll talk about patriotic music in general. I've got a fun little quiz for you a little bit later in the program today. But before we do all of that, since we have Jacob on the phone with us, we're going to get to know him a little bit better. Jacob, this is your first time on Toledo Symphony Lab, so you're sort of a newbie for the program. And every time we have somebody new come on, such as yourself, we ask them to tell their story. So give us sort of a little rundown of what got you from point A. I guess point A is like, childhood or birth or very early life, to point B, which is where you are now. Okay, I'm going to bring up a little music for you. Let me get it here. Okay.
Ooh.
It's a little bit
much
of
more atmospheric than typical.
Yeah, well, it has a little patriotic feel to
I
it.
got it. Cool.
All right, Jacob, I'm going to ask you to take it away and tell us about yourself. Go ahead.
Well, on my path to becoming a conductor and kind of where I am today, I started as a violinist, and really one of the primary or really most memorable musical experiences I had as a kid was actually with the Toledo Symphony many years ago, when the first concerto I ever played with a professional orchestra was with the Toledo Symphony when I was 12 years old. And
Wow.
So I was a violinist growing up, and I used to actually attend Toledo Symphony concerts all the time. I would usually go to the ones that had violin concertos on them, but I saw some of the greatest violinists of our time play in Toledo. I saw Hilary Hahn, I remember, Josh Bell at one point, and so I grew up playing the violin, going to concerts, including at the Toledo Symphony, and then sometime in high school, I always knew that I really loved the orchestral repertoire, but in high school I started thinking about making the switch to becoming a conductor, and that switch took many years. I was still playing the violin. I still even play today, but certainly professionally I work a lot more as a conductor now. But I fell in love with the orchestral repertoire in high school and in college, and have been working as a conductor ever since. But I have the Toledo Symphony to thank for a lot of my own musical inspiration and development. So it's a joy to be coming back to the orchestra.
That's great. I'm curious what led you to migrate from the violin to become a conductor. I should mention you are the associate conductor of the Indianapolis Symphony, which is a great band, as they say. What caused you to transition between the two?
I think a big part of it was, I mean, admittedly, I think one of my challenges as a violinist was just practicing the number of hours that is required to be a professional. And I honestly always struggled with that. And I think part of that was because I always liked the kind of the process of studying that it, is more required of a conductor, sitting down, looking at a full score of music. And my least favorite parts of violin playing were always the technical aspects, practicing scales and etudes and things like that. I mean, I benefited from starting at a very early age, so I had a lot of that somewhat more naturally, but I think, in a way, it's not that I lost any motivation to really put in the work to be a real serious professional violinist, but I just was fascinated by the process of studying full scores and making my own musical and interpretive decisions in a way that I would need to convey them to lots of people and convince a big group of my own musical intentions. And that's kind of part of what I found was that when I was playing the violin, I always had very strong ideas about how a piece should be played, but I often, I only had a limited means to express them if I was a player in an orchestra. And so I was attracted to the idea of, trying to convince lots of people of my own ideas. And so that's, I made the switch to the dark side of
That's how I became a marketing director.
Oh, yeah.
So the lesson is, parents, if you're listening and your kids don't want to practice, hey, maybe they can be a conductor, right?
Or a marketing director.
Or a marketing
Yeah.
If they just want to stop working.
Aw.
Stop working completely. Yeah. Well, that's great. I had no idea that you played with the Toledo Symphony. Would you say when you were 12 years old?
Yeah, it was. In fact, I was there about a month ago doing a kids concert, and
You were 12 years old a month ago? Wait.
Wait, no. I was conducting the Toledo Symphony a month ago, and one of the people who works there very kindly sent me they found and sent me the program of that concert 16 years ago, or whatever it was, and
It's not framed on your wall already.
Yeah.
I think my parents definitely put it straight in the box of memories. I think they had already saved one, to be honest. But I looked very different in that photo, that's for sure.
What was the repertoire? What did you play?
I played a movement of a Mozart concerto. I think Mozart 3, G major.
Yeah.
But
You didn't have to practice too much for that one, right?
Well, actually, it's funny, we still have the video at home of that performance, and I think I played more in tune when I was 12 than I ever have since. Maybe that was just the peak of my violin playing career.
That was it. Then you went to conducting.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Alain here, another conductor, obviously, who played and still plays the trombone. I guess you didn't have as much problem with practicing, Alain.
Well, no, I love practicing. Actually, yeah, I like that. The problem is once you start conducting a lot, there's not much time left to practice to be as good as you were before you did so much. So for me, I have to plan it during the year that I have moments where I'm playing, moments where I'm not playing, because even when I'm not playing, I'm still playing, but the level that I'm playing is not that good, so I don't want to play in front of people. So then I get back in real shape, concert shape, and then I play something. But I remember I had a really big, my conscience was a little bit, how could I say, a little bit torn, because I remember the first time I conducted a Beethoven symphony. It was the fifth, and we did the symphony. I went like, wow, why am I even bothering playing an instrument? I mean, this is like the for me the best way we can spread the message, and I can be helpful, and because I mean, you guys make it like it's a joke, but there's a lot of studying going around for us, and I understand. It's a lot of work, but how helpful can you be to your colleagues? And it took me a while to get back to my instrument and just start playing again, like one voice. I mean, it might be different for pianists, I don't know, but you play one voice, even if you play like a Bach suite or something like that. Still, compared to the immensity of orchestra repertoire, you feel a little bit, irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, I imagine it's hard to mix the worlds of being a solo performer and being a conductor, where you have to work with, an entire orchestra. And Jacob alluded to this as well, wanting to sort of get under the hood of how the music is made, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically, you get to hang out with Beethoven whole week and see. So you took 4 notes and you build a cathedral with it. This is great. Yeah. Okay, and then I would go back the week after, and not to diminish what I was doing. I mean, I love playing concerto, and I did it pretty well. I still do it well when I have time. But it felt like I don't know. It was difficult to come back and to feel like it was something as special as that, because it's a great lesson in humility conducting, right? It's everything you do, everything you conduct is by people who are going to be so that there's so much bigger geniuses than you could ever think that you are, that it's good for the humility.
Well, it would definitely be a lesson in humility for me if I ever tried conducting. Let's talk about the concert and the concert repertoire. This is happening Memorial Day weekend, and it has a patriotic theme, obviously. Merwin, you want to tell us a little bit about the music that we're going to hear on this program?
Well, sure. I'll start off with a couple of maybe less familiar works that are kind of centered around the string orchestra. We all are familiar with the great film composer John Williams, but he wrote a wonderful soundtrack to the movie Lincoln, and those pieces aren't played as often as they should be played. And there's particularly this elegy, which we're actually presenting with 2 trumpets and strings, and that's just a beautiful, moving piece. And then we're also performing the last movement of Antonin Dvorak's American Quartet in a string orchestra version that Alain is helping flesh out just a little bit, and we're really excited about that because it's a piece that I think works really well with the massed strings. Yeah. Massed and masked strings. So, but those are maybe the lesser known pieces on the program, but there are people who are kind of expecting familiar favorites. You're going to get those in spades for sure. Loudon's Armed Forces Salute is always something that feels really right this time of year to do. And then, of course, we're going to be doing some pieces by Jean-Philippe Sousa, and then the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Yeah. And then we're going to kind of distill and reduce the essential elements of Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. So it's kind of, none of this excess stuff. We're just going to get the real basics.
Are you keeping the canons, though? That's like an important part of the 1812 Overture.
We'll put some sort of miniature firearms in there.
There's a little those little pull pop things, for
there's some sort of museum regulation against cannons in a museum.
Yeah, nice. Well, it's interesting you mentioned the 1812 Overture. Of course, that's every July 4th we hear that. Thank you, Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about our national anthem for a second. I mean, it was inspired by the Battle of Baltimore in 1812, during the War of 1812. That's where the poem came from. And then the music was sort of a drinking song for a gentleman's club. It wasn't the kind of song where they would sit in a bar and raise their glasses in rhythm while they sang it. Although it kind of sounds like that when you sing it, when you hear it in your head, But it was still associated with Anacreon, like the Greek poet of, he used to write a lot of poems about drinking and love and what have you. So there was the Anacreonic however you say it, an acrobatic society, and that was their hymn. That was what they sang together, arm in arm, and then they drank the night away. So that's where the melody came from, right? Interesting. My question is this: why is it so hard to sing and so easy to mangle, right? Because it's all over the place. I mean, Elaine, you have it easy with "O Canada" up there. That's much easier to sing. But I don't know. Does anybody want to jump on that question and give us their impression of well, you can sing it for us if you want, but you have anything you want to say about that?
So hard?
I would just say, I mean, it's interesting. It's a weird national anthem that where everyone always sings it out of tune, and I think it's it jumps all over the place melodically, and a lot of times the stress of the poem or the lyrics is not the same place that the stress of the music goes. So, like, the first line goes, "Oh, say, can you see? By the dawns." The highest note of the second phrase is on the word "by," which we would never accent when we're saying something like that. And I think the combination of leaping around and also the meter of the poem not always lining up with the meter of the melody makes it actually, I think that's part of the reason why it's so hard for people to sing in just the standard settings that we find the national anthem. It's easier to play as an orchestra.
Or on the violin.
When it is sung well, oh my gosh, it's one of the most moving things. It's just, I mean, it gives me goosebumps when it's done really, really well.
But what Jacob was talking about with those stresses and the wrong syllable and that sort of thing, it totally sounds like you're drunk when you sing it, right?
Some people more than others.
In fact, I don't know that it should be sung any other way. Elaine, how do you compare "O Canada" with "Star-Spangled Banner"? I mean, do you have anything you want to say about that?
Well, I have something I want to say about it, but it's not in your question. But I'll answer your question first. I don't know. They're very representative of the country. I mean, it's very. How could I say? There's how do you call it in English? American uniqueness. There's a name for that.
Exceptionalism.
Yeah, exactly. The American exceptionalism. I think it's you can already hear it in that, and in Canada we, even the harmony of the piece, it's always in harmony the entire time. It's not so much about a melody that's harmonized. It's about the harmony and the melody together. Actually, it sounds exactly like the chorus of the opening of second act of the Magic Flute. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Oh yeah.
The chorus of the priest. It's the same. It's if I want to vulgarize it a little bit, they're the same changes. It's the same chord progression. I don't know. Some people don't notice that, but I noticed that the first time I heard Magic Flute. Of course, not the first time I heard the anthem, because I heard that one before.
So one belongs to a Masonic lodge, and the other belongs to a drinking club, basically. No, but seriously, I think there's a sense of, it's like the Russian anthem that you hear, but it's another Russian anthem that you hear in 1812. Also is representative. It's more like, you can feel suffering in it and more of that. So every anthem is very special. Once I got a gig. I was conducting the official Commonwealth games. All the anthems for all the countries in the Commonwealth. Oh. And you had anthems that were like 6 minutes long in South America. Some of them, they sound like opera overtures or arias. I was like, whoa. And it really got me thinking, because each of those have their own personality, and you try to find something that will reflect the people. And it's interesting because, the "O Canada" was written by Calix Salavalley, and Calix Salavalley was, quite a good composer in his own right, and he wrote other things. But it's interesting that this is, of course, this is the nod he got that state. But what I thought was very interesting is, and you guys touched on it, is how much pressure you have when you have to play or sing this
in an official function. And that makes every difficulty much more difficult. So the immense leaps and the really high notes that you have in the American anthem, they're not so difficult if you sing it in your bathroom, which is a lot of, how do you call them, Monday morning quarterback? Culture. That you listen to like people sing that and say, "Oh man, how can you mess that up?" And it's something. I know it's their job, but still. And one last thing I have to say that I really, really like the Lady Gaga version at the inspiration of Biden. And it might just be me. I mean, I know there was many measures on 4/4, and it's on purpose, and that some people were a little bit like shocked by it. But I thought that, of course. I think it's the president's own who plays. I don't know if it's Persian.
The Marine Band.
Yeah, I know the guy who arranged it. It was amazing.
I agree.
Did such a great job. Of course, they played like angels. They played like geniuses. They're so good. But she sang it like it was nobody's business. And when next time people hear people sing the anthem, especially the American anthem, just think that you have the most pressure than you would have even if you do an entire show just to do that. Even playing it is a lot of pressure. I played anthems at hockey games and things like that, and it's a lot of pressure right away. Even if I can read that.
Totally. So I do have a quiz. We can finish out the program today with this quiz. It is about our founding fathers. It's called Patriotic Pops. Get it? Pops. Okay.
Waka waka.
So these are...
Wait a second. Wait. Vanessa, you were born in Canada, right?
Yeah.
I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
I'm outnumbered here.
This doesn't feel fair.
Jacob, it's you and I.
It's going to be embarrassing if I don't win this one.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I've seen Hamilton a lot. So
there we go.
Yeah, that's the one person I left off the quiz. So
great.
We're in good shape here. Okay, it's multiple choice, so it's not that bad. Let me bring up some music for it. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Why do we refer to a signature as a John Hancock? Is it because John Hancock was the first to sign the Declaration of Independence, or his signature was the largest, over 6 square inches, or his handwriting was extra fancy?
All of the above.
All of the above. Very good. Although I think Elaine got in an A. I wasn't sure if that was a Canadian thing.
It's a Canadian A, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I was about to say, all of the above,
Next one. The British put a bounty on John Hancock's head. What was he wanted for? Was it for signing the Declaration of Independence? Was it for smuggling goods past the tax collectors? Or was it for printing and distributing seditious pamphlets?
C.
A, B, or C?
C.
I'll go with B.
Let me see
The
here.
smuggling one.
No, that's right. It just wouldn't be the quiz if I didn't hit the wrong thing, right? So, yeah, very good, Marwin. Smuggling goods, glass, paper, and tea. Incidentally, Hancock was very insulted by the bounty. Not the fact that they put a bounty on his head, but that it was only 500 pounds, which he thought was way too low. Okay. What did Thomas Jefferson's first draft of the Declaration call for, but it was later retracted? Was it a ban on alcohol, a ban on tobacco, or a ban on slavery? A, B, or C?
My guess is A.
Nope, not A.
well, let's go with B.
Ooh, I get C.
Whoa.
He called for a ban on slavery, but feared it would be rejected by the southern states.
Thought he had slaves.
Yeah, but he still called for it in the Declaration.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said B. I mean,
That's another podcast. What animals did President Jefferson keep as pets on the White House lawn? Flamingos, grizzly bears, or sheep? A, B, or C?
A.
C.
I guess D. Grizzly bears. That's awesome. That feels more like a Teddy Roosevelt thing, right?
No, grizzly bears, they were a gift given to him, to be fair. So he didn't know what to do with them. For 2 months, he kept them in a cage on the White House lawn.
That's where I keep all of my gifts.
Then he sent them to Philadelphia, where they were taken care of. You know, he was also obsessed with mastodons. And he had mastodon bones. He collected those. And that's why he sent Lewis and Clark on their expedition. Partly, one of their charters was that they were to look for living mastodons. He thought they were still alive out west.
Seems legit.
Yeah. Why not? Okay.
We don't refer to that in our concert at all. I'm just saying.
No mastodon music?
No mastodon-related music.
Carnival of the Animals?
We failed.
Yeah, okay.
We should totally have a dinosaur-themed concert. Then.
Yeah, all right. I get credit. Now, turning to Ben Franklin. When Ben Franklin was 16 years old, he found fame as a writer, posing as a plain-spoken widow who offered commentary on fashion, women's rights, and religion. What was his pen name? Was it Silence Dogood? Was it Trinity B. Well? Or was it Frankie Benjamin? A, B, or C? What was Ben Franklin's pen name?
B?
A. I know it's A.
Silence.
Wait, who said A? Jacob?
Me.
Very good. See, you didn't embarrass yourself, Jacob. All right.
Thank goodness I got one right. My American education served me well.
Canadians are still in the lead, though. Team Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben Franklin once wrote that, and I quote, "Of all my inventions, this has given me the greatest personal satisfaction." What was he talking about? The Franklin stove, the lightning rod, or the glass harmonica? A, B, or C?
That's got to be the glass harmonica.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, was a favorite of Mozart. Beethoven wrote for it. Strauss wrote for it. A cool thing about Ben Franklin, have you ever heard the string quartet by Ben Franklin? He actually composed a string quartet. I know, Merwin, the wheels are turning. You're like, where can I program this? We should have done this. But it's funny. It's a novelty because he tuned it in scordatura, right? He changed the strings. But the idea is that he retuned the strings so that none of the instrumentalists have to use their left hand. They can play only on open strings the entire quartet. So you can basically get anybody to play this quartet, right?
Sign me up.
Yeah, a quartet I could actually play. Okay, one more Ben Franklin question. Which of the following was Ben Franklin not a member of? The Freemasons, the International Swimming Hall of Fame, or the National Audubon Society? A, B, or C? Which one was not associated with Ben Franklin?
C.
C, the National Audubon Society? Wow. Right. Which means he was inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame. He evidently was quite an accomplished swimmer.
That just seems too
days.
random to not be true.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind. All right. Just a few more questions here. What were George Washington's teeth primarily made out of? Was it wood, porcelain, or teeth?
This is like
wood.
This is
Hey.
Not primarily made out of
I think
wood.
it's teeth. I think it's other people's teeth.
Ooh.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
His dentures were made out of human and cow teeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you know, it's, I guess, much more appropriate to say wood, and then you don't think of him holding somebody else's mouth in his mouth, right?
The cow teeth was new to me, though.
Yeah, human and cow teeth put together.
For the people, by the people.
Very, very
That's
good.
very good.
All right, we're keeping that in. All right. Besides being America's first president, what was George Washington's other claim to fame? He was America's first mule breeder. He founded the Philadelphia Stock Exchange. He made wearing white powdered wigs fashionable. A, B, or C? I know it's a hard one.
It's a tough one.
He didn't wear a wig, though.
Okay, well, that's when you can cross the wig off.
Well, but
I think
that was his hair.
B? No.
Yeah.
He was actually America's first mule breeder. and he created the mule stock that served farmers for generations. I mean,
is this like a sourdough starter?
Exactly. They still have a little tiny piece of it,
but
locked
his teeth
away
weren't mule teeth.
in a vault in Philadelphia.
Waste.
Yeah. Okay. Our final question for this quiz: who invented the term "founding fathers" in the sense that we use it today? Was it Thomas Jefferson? Was it Warren G. Harding, or was it Franklin Delano Roosevelt? A, B, or C?
It's got to be Harding, because there's no other reason you would put him in a quiz.
I have to get more random with these quizzes.
Well, yeah, the other names need to be like Polk.
Yeah.
Or like Grover Cleveland.
Exactly. I should have done that. Well, so Warren Harding did it, yeah, and he used it in a speech he gave to the 1916 Republican National Convention, and it took off from there. So great. Let's see who won. Gosh, I hate to do this, but I think the Canadians beat us. More specifically, I think Merwin was the winner. So Merwin,
Yay!
You
That's
get
how we
both
all
of
feel
those.
inside.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Here we go.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We have to
That's
include
really
that all the time now. So, Jacob, you don't know who that is. Elaine, tell Jacob whose voice we heard.
It's my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
She also has one when we don't do too well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got it here.
Guys, we can do better than that.
So, Elaine, you have to know that we carry those with us on a daily basis, especially in the office. If something goes awry or, someone is just being silly, we say, guys, you can do better than that.
Excellent.
And it's got to have that pause in there.
That's excellent. Even Mozart thought it was funny. Well, that's fantastic. So the concert is Memorial Day weekend, this Thursday and Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Patriotic Pops, which you can live stream on Friday at 8. That is at stream.artstoledo.com. You can get tickets for in-person at 419-246-8000. That's the box office. Or online at toledosymphony.com. I want to thank our special guest, Conductor Jacob Joyce, for joining us. Jacob, thanks for checking in, and we wish you the best of luck with this concert.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to it.
This program is a production of WGTE Public Media in collaboration with our sponsor, the Toledo Symphony, with generous support from the Rita Barber Kern Foundation. You can download episodes of our program as a podcast by going to our website at wgte.org/lab. You can also subscribe to us through your podcast app of choice, including Apple and Google Podcasts. Don't forget to check out all the upcoming events at the Symphony by visiting their website at toledosymphony.com and their various social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find the TSO streaming concerts online again at stream.artstoledo.com. My thanks to Merwin Sue, Vanessa Gardner, Alain Trudel, and our special guest, Jacob Joyce. I'm Brad Cresswell. You've been listening to Toledo Symphony Lab from FM 91.